Okay, I'm going to take you through a quick demo of building a web form using Sitecore's new form application within XM Cloud. So we're going to build the form for our demo site here, which is cover insurance. And I've got a page set up here already, a contact us page with a phone number, etc. And it's missing a web contact form. So that's the form we're going to build and insert as a component into this page just here. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new form and we'll give it a name, Contact Us Demo. And now for this form, it's just a very simple contact form. So it's just going to have three fields: name, email, and comment. The first thing we need to select is our overall layout for the form. So we're going to go a full width layout, but as you can see here, there's various options for different column-based layouts. I'm not quite sure of the use case of having a 4-column layout. That seems a bit strange to me, but we will just go one full width layout. The other thing to do up front before you start adding form fields is to create any styling settings. So it's important to note that any styling that you set here at the overall form level will then apply to any items or form fields that you create within the form. But it'll only apply if you create the style settings first. So set the form style settings, then create your form fields, which will automatically inherit whatever settings you've selected here. Whereas if you don't do that up front, if you just go ahead and create individual items, you'll need to style them independently of the overall form styling. So for our form, it's just going to be a very basic form. So I'm actually not going to change any of these settings, but you can get an idea of the different options just by looking at what's in front of us. See, changing a border, you can do that. Background color, link settings, so links within the form will apply these settings here. Text messages, validation messages, and various other settings here. Probably the most used one would be action button. So this is the settings of your submit button, which you can set here. And again, that will apply to all submit buttons if you create them after you set the settings here. But let's leave all those as default and let's go ahead and create our items. So we're going to have a name field and email and comment, which would be long text. Now for each of these items, there's the same set of configuration options here. So for the label is name, enter text, help text is there by default. If you don't want to display that, you just remove that. And we're going to set all of these to be required fields. You can see you can also set fields as hidden, character limit, and then this is where you set any visual styling against that form item. Email, it will apply validation settings automatically, expecting an email format. Again, I'll remove the help text and I'll set it as required. And then long text we will change to comment. Oops. No help text and required. So that's the very basic settings. You may want to set this name field. This needs to be unique per form field or item, and this is what you'll use potentially in various other places when it comes to submitting the form and configuring the payload and so forth. But that's our basic form there. I'll jump across these menu items at the top here. Comments is if you're going through a workflow and you're having somebody else come in and preview and review the form. So it's as simple as just clicking on the field and saying, this is correct. And then the comments will appear here like your typical kind of track changes approach. So that's a pretty cool feature. It's great that that's built in from day one in terms of having that ability to collaborate on a form. Preview, as you would expect, it's got preview of different breakpoints. And note, we're just looking at the form here itself, irrespective of where you might be planning to insert this form in terms of the context. The version, so it does auto-save as you're working, but if you get to a point where you want to make a specific save, so let's say do that, and I can then save this as a version, and you'll see it's created that version in here, which again is another handy feature built in. And then the final screen is settings. So the main thing here to be aware of is webhook. So XM Cloud Sitecore Forms does not come with any built-in data storage capability. When you submit the form, you need to configure a webhook, which is basically you need to tell the form where to submit the form data to. And there's a separate section for configuring these webhooks. For now, I'm going to select the one I've set up already, which is submitting this form data just to a Google Sheet, just for demonstration purposes. And at this point, we can jump in and quickly test that what I've configured previously still works. And it gives you a breakdown of what the payload is going to be. Submit that, and it tells me the webhook is still successful, so that's great. In terms of submit action, so by default it will just show a message on the page, and you can obviously change that, style that how you wish. Generally I would recommend actually redirecting to a URL. That makes it much easier to track the form action and to track successful form submissions, but for the purpose of the demonstration, we'll just select show a success message there. Okay, we're going to save and exit, and that's basically the steps involved and how quick and simple it is to build a fairly simple form, but build a form nonetheless. Now, before we actually add this to the page, we're going to go in and configure, do the final configuration of the webhook that we've set up. So if I go over here to webhooks, this is my Google Sheet webhook, and I'm just using a service called SureTrigger to enable that. So I'm logged into SureTrigger, and I'm going to go to the existing workflows that I've set up and go into my XM Sitecore form to Google Sheet trigger. And as you can see, it's a very simple workflow that goes from the webhook into the Google Sheet. And then here we configure what we want to happen. So we basically want to add a new row to this existing Google Sheet. And because I've just created a new form, the form has specific field names, which, just to remind you, I'll go in here and look at the name. So text 1835B, for example. We need to map those specific form field names to the destination in the Google Sheet. So to do that, because I've already sent a test, so using the new form, I've sent a test using this short trigger, so it knows that this payload exists and is coming this way. So now we're just going to map those against these fields I've set up. And we're going to test that. And that action completed successfully. So I can save that and update. So now we've created our form in Sitecore Form, we've configured our webhook, and we've mapped it to the destination in Google Sheets over here. And you can see that it's already sent a test through there. So now let's go back to our form. So back here in Sitecore Forms, and what we can do if we know that we want to reuse this form in multiple places, we can save this as a template, and then this form will become available from the template library next time we create a new form. Actually, the one thing I haven't shown you is some basic styling. So if we want to change that blue background to a different color, obviously we can do that quite simply here. So let's save it. Let's actually save and activate that. So it's important to know that once you activate your form, you can't come back in and edit it. If you do want to make changes to an existing form, you actually need to duplicate the form. So essentially create a new version of that form, make the changes and publish that one. But for now, let's activate this form. And it's only once you activate the form that it then becomes available in XM Cloud Pages in order to add as a component on a page. So our new form, Contact Us Demo, is now active. We can see some initial analytics here as expected. There's been no views and submissions. Okay, let's go into our Contact Us page. I'm just going to refresh that. So it grabs the latest list of components, one of which will be our new form. Okay, on our Contact Us page, let's go into our container and select our components. And we've got our forms listed here. And our form is Contact Us Demo. Should add that in. There it is. Then of course we can preview this page. And that's right, I did set a border, didn't I, in the form settings. Okay, we'll leave that for now, that's fine. So our form is there and we can now publish that and that'll become available on the live site. So I'm going to publish this page. Okay, so our new Sitecore form has been published on our page. So let's go ahead and fill in the form and submit. Okay. Form submitted and form success message here. So now all going well, our new Sitecore form has submitted via the webhook and pushed the payload to Google Sheets. So we should have a new row in our Google Sheet with the form submission. And there it is at 9:07. So that all works successfully. So as you can see, Sitecore Forms, pretty simple to use, pretty quick to implement, and pretty effective at servicing basic web form needs. There are some limitations though, the main one being that once a form is published, there's nothing you can do, there's only basic editing that you can do of the form. So if I show you, this is an active form. So we can change the webhook, we can change the submit action and the success messages, but we can't actually edit the form itself. Again, if you want to actually edit the form, you need to create a duplicate of this and configure it from there. That's one of the main limitations I can see. Also, there's no CSS-based styling controls. So as I explained in the beginning, if you want to set some common styles and apply to all the form fields, you need to do that up front. And if you forget, then you're manually configuring the styling of each individual field, which could get annoying if you've got big, long forms in multiple forms across your site. But that's a quick demo of the new Sitecore Forms feature.